Hi, and welcome to the BookishStitcher podcast. My name is Jeanette. You can find me on Ravelry, Instagram, and Goodreads as BookishStitcher, all one word. I hope you've had a wonderful week since I last podcasted. Most of the knitting that you'll see today was actually done just early part of last week because midweek a stomach bug hit our house, and after that not much was done. So on Wednesday my 3-year-old daughter came down with a stomach bug and mommy nursed her and she got better, but then mommy got sick, and then I started feeling bad about Thursday evening, and then about around midnight on Friday night my son got sick, and then today my husband has started to feel sick. So my whole family has been just falling down like dominoes, and I'm feeling better. My daughter's better now. My son still's not quite feeling great, and my husband, of course, is just kind of wiped out, really tired. And so there's not a ton of knitting, but I did get a fair bit done earlier in the part of the week. But if you've watched the podcast and I've talked about it, I am always knitting. But from Thursday afternoon till Saturday evening, I did not knit at all. I just laid there in my bed asleep most of the time because I couldn't even get up to come downstairs to eat. I was just upstairs sick the whole time. But I'm glad to be feeling better. It seems to be just a little over a 24-hour bug. So yay. I show you my knitting stuff. I finished my sister-in-law's Christmas 2016 present. So these are going to be for her because everybody wanted socks. And these are out of some Bad Amy in a club colorway called Binny and June. And they're done, yay! They're a little bit too long for my sock blockers because she has bigger feet than I do. I wear a size 7 and she wears a much larger size. I think she's like a 9.5. Well, it's not a ton larger, but too big for the sock blockers. But they're done. And then the next thing that I have finished is my Bailey hat by Jane Richmond, and this is done out of some Madeline Tosh in the Found Pottery color. It's very pretty, and those baubles do so great with this yarn. In fact, I think I will put this on because I don't have a hat on today. So that's what it looks like on. I ran out of yarn, or I used up every single last little bit of yarn, which is something I like to do if I can, if the pattern will let me. It's nice. This brim is folded, so it's extra squishy. I really like that. It feels very soft. And I'm just having some sparkling water today. When I'm not feeling great, my stomach really likes this. This is just from Trader Joe's. Sparkling lime water. And so the hat is done. It's nice and squishy. Madeline Tosh is a wonderful yarn. And that is all of my FOs. So let me show you next the thing that got the least work on it, which needs to start getting more work done on it. This is in my Bags by Awesome Granny airplane bag. And this is my husband's sweater. It's the Twilight pattern by Drops. And it's out of some Leading Men Fiber Arts in the Into the Woods colorway. And I'd hope to finish up this entire skein this week, but when you lose 48 hours worth of knitting time, you don't get as much done. Last time I showed this, I was still in the ribbing, so gotten a little bit done. I'm kind of in denial about this. I'm not sure that it's going to fit my husband. A lot of people said in the pattern, my husband said he wanted a fitted sweater. So, I'm doing a medium, but a lot of people said in the pattern notes that the sizes are not great, but I don't know. I'm hoping I can block it out like crazy. And my husband said if it's a sweater that rides up, he'll be fine with it. So we'll see. I should probably just take it off and try it on, see. And then the next thing is in another Bags by Awesome Granny, my Russian winter bag. This is my Secret of Change shawl by Vera Valimaki. And the rows on this are getting so long. This is out of some Yarn Carnival. I believe it's the geode colorway, or that may be the base, but it's grays with purples coming through. And it's the shawl is too big now to really stretch out and show you on the needles, but I'm almost done. But I have the longest part left. So that's what it looks like. I don't want it to fall off the needles as I show you, but it's getting bigger. I have just one more repeat and then the edge and then the edging to do. But of course it's the biggest. So the yarn looks very beautiful. Those gray with pops of purple. And then next up in my Bling Your String bag, and I'll be drawing for the winner for this club today. Isn't this gorgeous? I love this bag. It's my Gales Art 2016 sock blank, and still need to get my DPN holders to put on this. I'm just playing with fire, not having them on there. These are the Hermione's Everyday socks. And these are, I've decided, going to be a gift for my mom, because since I'm knitting them top down, and I normally do about 56 stitches for my things in size 1, but they're 64 for the pattern, and it's going to be a cushier sock, and since it's top down, my mom has size 11 feet and I have size 7, so I'll be able to use up a lot more of the sock blank knitting it for her than I would for myself, and she loves hand knit socks. As much as she can get them, she loves them. So it's funny because people talk about self-striping sock yarn and how those are addictive, where you want to get to the next stripe, to the next stripe. This is like that too, because if you remember last week, I wasn't to it has different parts in it, I wasn't to the part that said 2016 yet. And so I kept wanting to get through it, and then started on the part that said 2016. And then I was watching that pull away as I was knitting it. And then there was a big section that was blank. And then I just wanted to get to this next stencil. And so I kept knitting, and now I'm in the stencil, and I want to see how the stencil knits up. So it definitely has these parts where you're like, oh, and I'm sure once I get to the R, I'll want to see the R disappear, and then the A disappear, and keep going like that. So it's very, very one of those, what's next, what's next? Keep going through. So I know I'll be working on this a lot more. And then finally, I have my Susanna IC mystery shawl, and this is in my Once Upon a Corgi bag, a little corgi. And this is the yarn that this is done out of that I'm working on right now is some Knitting Color and a color block set. And I finished the first color in the 4-color set, sorry. I finished the first color and I've moved on to the second. It's nice and sparkly. And I haven't finished this second clue because it came out on Saturday, and most of Saturday I was feeling awful. So Saturday evening I started the clue because I looked at it, and luckily, so if you don't want to get spoiled by this clue, look away now and come back in a minute, I guess. But I looked at the next clue and I saw that there were no beads on it because I wasn't going to even try if there were beads because I'm just still too tired. But there were no beads, so I started. It was very simple. It's just some short row shaping. And since I'm not done with the clue, I'm still in the midst of the short row shaping. So it's in the middle of a row. It's not the greatest shot for that, but you can kind of see the new color just starting to poke through there. And this yarn is lovely and soft. And there's the beads. I finished clue 1 last Sunday while the podcast was uploading to all the various places. So that has been all my knitting this week. I really wanted to cast on something new for the Russian orphanage knit along, and I also really wanted to cast on a birthday present for my friend Shelly, Kiki Lucy. It's her birthday coming up this next week, and I have something that I want to knit for her birthday, but I wasn't feeling well, and I knew I wouldn't get much knit on it, so with being sick, I didn't even cast on any of those. I'll cast them on next week. It'll be a belated birthday present. So that is all of the knitting that I did. And as for spinning, none this week. Like I said, taking care of family, taking care of myself, being unconscious sleeping most of the time. No spinning got done. So then for group news, I'm going to keep this segment relatively short today just because since I am still recuperating, I want to keep the podcast a little bit shorter, but everything that's been going on for a while you can see in the group news in the BookishStitcher podcast group on Ravelry. I just wanted to mention a couple new things. Jenny Knit mentioned that she would like, because I've mentioned on the podcast that I knit certain things at certain times, like in the carpool line I'll knit socks, or in the morning I have my coffee and knit socks. And she said that it would be fun to have a thread, kind of a what you knit when you're doing certain things thread. And so she's going to put that up, I think, in the next couple of days. And I'll post pictures in there. So if there's anything that, if you have a commute to work and you knit socks on your commute, or if you have a giant epic blanket project that you're working on and you always knit on it while watching a movie at night, you post pictures of that in the thread. It'd be kind of fun to kind of get ideas of what we knit when at certain times. And I thought that was a really fun idea of her. So thank you so much, Jenny Knit, for coming up with that idea and wanting to post that. And then next we had the group, or the Bling Your String Bag Club giveaway, and it's being drawn for today, and I already drew for it, and I have my phone somewhere. Oh, here it is. But the winner for this was post number 53. I don't know if you can see advertisements, but you see that? There you go. And I did 2 through 120, and the winner was post number 53. And that is Yarning for a Smile, Kim. And Kim had a great list of all the things that she wanted. And I had asked Serafina, it's Serafina on Ravelry, and her group is Bling Your String, and she does the bags for Bling Your String. They're wonderful that I showed right here. And she said it was fine if different people wanted to do longer wish lists, and she could work with them on that. So Kim, she will be Kim, you write me to let me know that you've seen the episode, and then I will message Serafina on Ravelry and put you guys together so you can work on your club and get her all your things. And I can't wait to see on Instagram the bags that you get, and I am excited when my bags will come in. And if you didn't win, you should definitely go and treat yourself to the club. I believe it's still open as of right now. I think I could go look, but let's just say it's still open. If it's not, I'm sorry, but go and check. And you should definitely treat yourself to a bag, because if you want to, you can just get one bag and make it reasonably priced. Or if you want to treat yourself a lot, you can get more. And so it would be just fun to see what everybody gets in their bag club. And that is all there is for group news, because keeping it short today. Now for enabling. If your name is Jennifer, and Ravelry your name is Ironical Knitter, look away for a minute or two. Okay, so are you gone? Make sure you go away. Okay, so Jennifer and I are going to be attending a retreat together in February. It's in Texas because, like I said, I'm trying to stay close to me this year. I just need a year kind of down or not going to all the things. So Jennifer, so sweetly, is flying in from Chicago to Texas to attend this retreat, and so we can have some hangout time and get to see each other. And she and I are rooming together, and so I wanted to have a little roommate present for her. And she's not a spinner, but she's a knitter, so I wanted to spin her something. And Jennifer has completely opposite color likes as I do. I love purple, blue, and green. And she really likes the red wine kind of color thing. So I didn't have anything like that in my stash. So I went and I used the rest of my dad's Etsy gift card to me for my Christmas thing. And I got this. It's Wool Gatherings, hand-painted yarn and fibers, 80% merino, 20% silk, 4 ounces. It's Wool Gatherings. And it's this beautiful wine-colored fiber. And I'm going to spin this up for her and probably include it with a couple of other little goodies in the roommate present. So it's very soft. That merino silk is one of my favorite combinations to spin because I love how easily it drafts when it has that touch of silk in it. And then for more enabling, so that's I guess it's enabling, but it's not for me, it's a present. But then in the vein of keeping and showing Christmas stuff that I got, this week's Christmas stuff is from my sister-in-law and my in-laws. So my sister-in-law lives in New York City. And when she asked what I wanted for Christmas, I said, hey, you are next to, supposedly, I've never been there, one of the great yarn stores in America. So could you go there and get me like a skein of yarn? And this Purl Soho is the yarn place. And I thought she was going to get a skein of yarn. And I said if it was too expensive, just don't worry about it. But apparently she contacted my in-laws and said, hey, do you want to go in with me? And we can both get this gift for Jeanette from Purl Soho. So that's what they did. So I have a whole bunch to show you here. So first thing from Purl Soho. This is flax down, which is very soft, and I never heard of it. So it's 43% baby alpaca, 42% extra fine merino wool, and 15% linen. And it says you have to hand wash it. It's pretty color accurate right there. Very soft. I don't know what I will knit with most of these, but I'm going to enjoy finding out something. And then next, this is Man of Steel Orgway Maxima. What's that? Beautiful. This will probably be something for my husband. A hat maybe? Seems very good guy colors. And then got me another Purl. Most of these are Purl Soho. Its own brand of yarn. Worsted Twist Heather. This will make a great hat. Actually, it's like a grayish purple. It's showing up much more charcoal gray, but imagine that charcoal gray lighter and with a hint of purple. But that'll make an actually great hat, and I don't have a hat in this color. This is 100% merino wool, so it must not be superwash, but. And it's denim blue. Oh, it's another, okay, it's blue. Trying to get away from blue hats this year because I have so many blue hats. Blue hats, and now I have a lot of white hats. And then the last thing, I believe, yes, last thing are two skeins. This one's kind of, whoop. This one is falling apart. And I fixed that. I'm not the greatest at fixing skeins, so I don't know how that'll work out. But this is Purl Soho line again. And this is the mulberry merino, which I'm assuming is, 80% extra fine merino wool and 20% mulberry silk. And it's 247 yards, so this is definitely enough for a cowl. Very luxurious, beautiful cowl. It's a gorgeous color. So they gave me 5 skeins of yarn. I was thinking I was going to get 1, and I got 5. And so with this 5, I am now officially, once I enter it onto my Ravelry, because as soon as I show something on the podcast, I enter it into my Ravelry stash. So my yarn's up there if you ever want to go check it out. I'm not sure why you would, but if you ever do. But I am now officially over my limit of 100 skeins. I like to keep my Ravelry, my stash about 100 skeins of yarn. That's my happy spot, my happy medium place. And I'm over that, so, and I still have more yarn to show because I haven't shown all of the Christmas. There's still 2 more things for my husband, 2 more big packages of yarn that he gave me. And so, sorry, my nose is itching. So I am going to set the thing for myself because I have a retreat coming up the end of February, and it's going to have a marketplace, I think. And I know it does have a marketplace. But I am not going to get anything for myself when I'm there. I have enough, and I need to get my stash back down. I want to get it back down to somewhere like 94 skeins or 92 before DFW Fiberfest, which is the first weekend in April. But so the only thing I might get at the market at the February retreat is I have to do socks for everyone for Christmas. And one of my friends requested a very specific kind of sock that they want. And so if I see that they want like a all wool, very warm, kind of almost like a smart wool kind of sock texture. But and I don't have anything like that in my stash. So if I see something like that while I'm there, I will get one skein of yarn for that, nothing else, because I'm going to keep it to get my stash back down to where I feel comfortable at and where it fits nicely into my stash organization unit. And so that is everything for all of that. Next, on to the book this week, which I'm very excited to share with you. Just a little short book, but I love to research different book stuff online, and I came across a Best Books of 2014 list, and this was toward the end of 2015 that I came across this, and I decided I'm going to read through that list next year in 2016. It's like skipping a year, but I decided I wanted to read through the list, so I started doing that. And I think the list was just 20 or 22, 24, somewhere around there, early 20s book list of number of books. And so it was definitely be doable. And I just finished the first one that I got for it. I don't know if it was the first one on the list. Probably not. It was just a random one that I picked. But I finished it this week, and I very much enjoyed it. It's called, and I listened to this on audiobook. So, Department of Speculation by Jenny Offill, a novel. It is a short novel, I believe. Well, it was just under 3 hours, just under 4 hours, about 3.5 hours, I believe. And I think, since I didn't read it, I'm not exactly sure, but I believe, according to Goodreads, it had 183 pages or something like that. But basically, this story is the story of a marriage, of a woman and a woman's life and her marriage, and just the life cycle that this particular marriage goes through, and how in parts it's strong and beautiful, and then in parts it's depressing and crumbling and heartbreaking. And the thing about this book that I think the author does very well is it's raw. The emotions in it are very raw, to the point sometimes it's hard to read, because when authors write books with very raw emotions, to me, I can feel it. I can feel what they're conveying. I can feel how they feel. And I think that's done when an author is very good at writing. And with that in mind, there are some topics that I won't even read if they're raw and have certain topics, because it's too much for me personally. If I've experienced it, then I can't sometimes go through reading it. But this book is very raw and so well written, and it's done in the concept that the wife is writing little blurbs to herself almost, and it calls these letters, these little entries in almost a book of the diary, or the Department of Speculation, and she just calls herself the wife, I believe, through most of it. But she's just talking to her husband sometimes, or talking about their child, talking about her job, talking about her life. And you can tell that she and her husband, at both at different points, have different problems that they're going through. But there are so many sentences in this book that are just beautifully worded. And I wrote one down that I wanted to share with you that made me smile and I could really relate to. I have it in my book. But she's talking about this, she's older than she was in the first part of the book. It's towards the middle part. And she's talking about, how have I gotten here in my life? Because I think she's saying that she's wearing yoga pants, and she has these bags that are made by fair trade organizations and different things like that. And she said, in my teens, I would have made fun of this person. And so she says, but now it seems possible that the truth about getting older is that there are fewer and fewer things to make fun of, until finally there is nothing you are sure you will never be. I love that. Until finally there is nothing you are sure you'll never be. How many of you have experienced that? Me. As a teenager, there were all these things that I thought, oh, I'll never do that, I'll never do that, I would never be caught dead doing that. Now, the older I get, the more I realize the things that we would judge or think that we would never do in our younger years. We don't even realize like why the person may be doing them, or all these different kinds of things. And I very much so love her writing style. It was just, I loved that sentence and so many other sentences in the book, and it is very short, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. But that being said, it is very raw, so if you have had at some point in your life a marriage that is struggling and crumbling and you can't read books about that, you might not want to read this. Because I know there are some topics, like last year the book A Little Life was huge in all the literary circles that I follow. And after researching a bit about what it was about, I decided that I'm going to not read that book for several more years until I am ready to handle that topic, because some of what I think is in it is stuff that I've dealt with in my past, and I don't believe that I'm strong enough where I am personally to handle reading about it, you know? So there are different things that, you know, just would be too raw for you to read. So that was a question that I kind of wanted to ask you guys this week. Do you enjoy reading books that have very raw emotion that can get to you and just make you feel what the character is feeling? And if you do enjoy those, or if you don't, is there a certain type that you won't read? You know, if something has to deal with animal abuse or child abuse or lots and lots of other topics they could go into. Is there a certain topic that you were like, I will not read books about this topic because it's just something that I, you know, would be too raw for me to read? So I thought that I would ask you guys that week, because I ask you that question this week, because I know some people really don't like to read books that have that raw emotion part to them, because it does touch you in a certain part and get very real. But anyways, that is the book for this week, and I wanted to share with you that one of the books that I'm reading through for the 2014 best books of that year. It is Department of Speculation by Jenny Offill. And so that is all I have for you this week. If I forgot anything else, I will put it in the Ravelry group thread. But I'm going to go lay back down now because I'm starting to feel a little bit tired, because this is the most I've been sitting up and talking since Wednesday. But anyways, I hope you guys have a wonderful week and that you get to do all the things you love. Okay, bye.